Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I work the night shift at a McDonald's, and I 100% believe my store is haunted. Wearing a headset to joke around with the guy taking orders, making the orders as he takes them. Crispy buttermilk meal with a large high C. Get it done fast. Last crispy chicken of the night. Waiting at the window like a minute later. Drive guy is slow, so I'm not surprised the car is still not at the second window. Stick out my head to look for the car. There is no car. Hey, where's crispy buttermilk? I know, they didn't pay. Sometimes cars will pull up to the second window instead of first because they're a little slow. Well, where are they? Dunno, they never drove up. Headsets beep if someone pulls up or reverses out. Can't see any car on the security camera. Car mysteriously disappeared between placing their order and driving to the first window. No one ever comes back for a crispy chicken meal. I told this to a coworker later and she nodded and told me, yeah, that's the ghost. It's hungry. I have a few more stories. Run out of fries during the middle of the night. Have to go into the freezer to get more. Freezer is a dark, slippery place with only one door. Said door has no handle, so you have to push on it directly and hope you don't get frostbite. I'm in a corner with my back to the door. Can feel the freezer dripping on me, which it is definitely not supposed to do. Suddenly, I hear a door slam. You literally cannot slam the freezer door. It's so heavy most of the girls have to get a guy to open it for them. Go to take fries out. Door is locked. Freezer door can't be locked. Only the fridge area it opens into can. Start banging on the door and screaming. Finally, a coworker comes to get me because I'm taking forever to get fries. No one believes I was locked in the freezer. I don't get things out of the freezer anymore. Wearing a headset again. No orders. The order taker is washing trays while I'm on my phone. Suddenly, I hear a voice. Sounds like a younger woman. I didn't get a ding, but figured they might not be pulled in all the way. Shrug it off. Keep hearing the voice. Let's go outside. Clear as a bell. Sounds like a little girl's voice. Dude, did you hear that? Yep. Fuck. Let's play. Grab the manager and tell her there's a woman on the headset talking. Manager is the only woman on shift and speaks in a heavy Spanish accent. No car on the security camera. All headsets are accounted for. Only 2 out for drive-through and I. Voice happens again and hand headset to the manager to hear. She's shocked. She thought we were pranking her. Take the headset back, unsure what to do. Voice again. Try to hand headset back. Manager shoves it away. No, it's haunted. Says something Spanish shit too. Finally, a customer comes in. Voice stops for the rest of the evening. The 3 of us on shift are still fucked up about it.
Yeah, I hate to tell you this, but most headsets use the same channels. Find drive-through businesses that use the same equipment. I guarantee you they're using the preset channels. Used to borrow the extra headset from my job and drive around seeing what signals it would pick up. McDonald's, Starbucks, Arby's, and Chick-fil-A all used headsets I could pick up on the headset from my job. Someone was fucking with you.
I'm a post 1 from my days at Little Caesars. Background. The place was on the outer side of a mall, so we could be open till God knows what time. Didn't matter that the mall was already closed, we could still be open. Working late on a Friday, early November, and chilly because it also rained that day. On Fridays we close at 1 a.m. That day we had a lot of customers, so some of us stayed for a little longer. I'll say it's like 1:35 or so. Most people left already. It's just me and a friend that lived near my house and had a car. Friend takes me home almost every day. The only thing left to do is take out the trash. The trash can is on the other side of the mall, and the parking lot's lights are flickering, which means they're about to shut down. Friend and I grab everything and just jam it in the trunk. We were hoping to throw everything out when we get there so we can go home as soon as possible. When we get there, the lights are already off, so we use the car's light to see where we're throwing trash. There were 3 bags left, so my friend entered the car and started it, just waiting for me to finish. Suddenly, we start to hear wet footsteps, so I throw the 3 bags at the same time, while the footsteps start to get louder. They stop and then hear a very faint "ah." Turn around and see a shadow getting closer. My friend must have seen it too, 'cause he sounds pretty eager to go. I say fuck it. I'm too scared and just jump in the trunk. Go, go, go! There's someone here! I yell from the inside of the open trunk. We get the hell out of there, not knowing or caring what was that. Just relieved it didn't stab us or worse. Friend stops in a 7-Eleven for me to get out of the trunk and enter the car. Some employee talks to us and tells us to be careful, since there's a weirdo walking around and screaming shit. Later that week we found out it was a drunk homeless guy we called El Guapito. El Guapito almost made us wet our pants.
I used to work at an international hotel as a waiter in the VIP lounge. There aren't really creepy stories, just that the place was /X/incarnate. Everyone was an expert on the paranormal. An edgy girl joins the team one day, wore mostly ponchos, big hats, even capes, dressed usually all in black. Coworkers think she's literally a witch. American coworker insists Slavs have an affinity to sense the paranormal. Like half of the workforce believed the lounge was haunted. They once even accused a guest of being a psychic vampire. One coworker thought her house was haunted because her hat fell from its place when she was asleep. American argued that ghosts are real because when he went to the graveyard to his grandparents' graves, his footprint was still there from the last time. Therefore, it's magic. Said he also saw his grandparents' ghosts sitting on their graves. Had a druggy coworker who did astral travel after taking all sorts of drugs, even went to South America with his brother to do drugs with the shamans. Not surprisingly, he believed in conspiracy theories. However, there have been some disturbing events at the hotel, namely several in Heroes over the years. I don't know how many for sure, but here are a few I heard of. A couple did a double kill in their room. Corpses were discovered only after the smell started to spread. A woman jumped from the highest floor. When she splashed, her brain flew out like 50 meters into the pool. The first thing the hotel did was check her credit card. Another woman committed self-termination. She just entered the hotel and jumped.
I worked in the kitchen in a military base and had a few spoopy things happen. I worked night crew and one day, maybe 30 minutes before my shift, the power went out on base. I called my sergeant hoping I would get the day off, but he told me to come in and we can work in the dark. We were in charge of prep, so no big deal. I got there, and the civilian ladies we worked with were all joking about maybe getting the day off, but we knew the power would eventually come back. Anyways, I started preparing my work area, getting everything I was going to need, and measuring ingredients when one of the civilian ladies came up to me and said, "Haha, very funny you thought you were going to scare me." I didn't know what she was talking about, but I didn't say anything. I guess when she went to a different part of the building to get something she needed, there was something in the darkest corner whispering at her. I just laughed and pretended it was me. It couldn't have been my sergeant because he was in the office talking to his ex-wife, and there was no one else there yet. I never told her, but I used to get the worst feeling going in that part of the building, and I would never want to look in that corner. Same building a few years later, I got put in charge of the night crew. Now I mostly do easy work and have a younger girl, so the work I used to do, we also make a meal of about 70 for the night shift workers. Then we get like a break from 1:30 to 4 o'clock, because it would be too early to start breakfast for the morning shift. During this break time, we would either catch up on work, do paperwork, or if we were ahead, chill, maybe watch TV in the eating area. The girl I was in charge of would sometimes bring her laptop to do schoolwork, watch movies, and sit in the eating area. I needed her for some reason, so I looked in the eating area and all the lights were off. I was walking slowly because it was dark, and I was hoping to hear her so I would know where to look. I didn't see her or the light from her laptop, but then all of a sudden I heard something say, "Hey." I can't describe it, but it sounded like a person, but with static. I froze. I didn't want to move because I couldn't tell where it came from. When I finally found her, she wasn't even on that side of the building, and there would have been no way I could have possibly have heard her. I asked the civilian manager, and she had never left her office, and there was no way it could have been her either. A lot of the civilians that had worked there for years had stories. The Asian ladies would say there was a ghost lady, and I guess a few of them have seen her multiple times.
Work in a hospital file room. Get called in on Saturday night because the usual lady is out. I'm the only one in the whole department, standard procedure for nighttime on a weekend. turn on some music and settle in at my desk for a boring night of sorting papers. About 10 p.m, the lights in the room go out. They're tied to a motion sensor, and I haven't moved from my desk in like an hour. Continue working, still enough light coming in from the hallway to see what I'm doing. A little bit later, the lights suddenly come back on. Still at my desk, no way I set off the sensor. It takes you walking across the room or flailing your arms like a spurg to trigger the thing. Shrug it off as nothing. Later, almost time to finish up, just need to go back up to the floor to get the last of the charts for today. Walk out of the file room and look up just in time to see a guy disappear around the corner down the hall. I can't be anyone who works here. I'm the only male in the entire records department, and he wasn't in uniform, so can't be security, janitor, or maintenance, and the door to this area is keypad locked. The only thing around that corner is a dead end and the bathroom. The bathroom's light is also motion triggered. Curious who the hell is down here. Peek around the corner. The bathroom door is open, no one is inside. Literally nowhere else to go. Stand there dumbfounded. Suddenly the bathroom light flickers on. I'm not even inside. Nope.jpg. Sprint back to my desk, box up the charts in record time and leave. Leave the other ones. The day shift can get them tomorrow.
I work for a cell phone company that will remain nameless, but rhymes with the horizon. Often have to go out and check some towers if we have problems and regular maintenance. One of the towers is in the middle of a forest, as in creepy, spooky forest. There's a gate with barbed wire around this. You have to enter a code to unlock the gate. We have had problems with people stealing cable and other wiring. Tower stops responding late at night. I have to go out there to check on it. I arrive. The gate is wide open. The small building door is wide open as well. Screw this! I am calling the police. I hear a voice. Help me! Please help me! Coming from inside. The hair on my neck starts to stand up, and I am getting goosebumps everywhere. It sounded like a voice that was almost like a computer-generated type of voice. There was nothing natural about it. I yelled, "The police are coming. Are you hurt?" Voice says, help me, please." I am in the company van and call dispatch and tell them what is going on. My coworker says, "Get the hell out of there now." I start the van and drive off and look in my mirror. I see something crawl out of the building and stand up. It must have been about 8 feet tall and growing. I heard this laughter. My hands were shaking so hard. I drove down and went into a Walmart shopping center and told dispatch what I saw. I then called the police again and told them where I was. Talked with the police officers and told them what I saw. I then said about the voice saying, "Help me," and how strange it was. The police looked at me and nodded their heads. They then called up someone else to bring a group to the building. When we got there, the gate was still open and the door was open. The police went in and cleared the small building. They came out and showed me claw marks on the wall, and the inside was completely destroyed. My supervisor saw this and told me, "I am transferring back to Chicago."
I'm a sailor serving in the U.S. Navy. I'm going to use a lot of naval terms, and I'll explain what they mean. So my experience happened in January 2013 while I was standing sound and security, which is a watch, where you rove around the ship, taking readings off of various equipment, and general security on board USS Defender MCM-2, a minesweeper, stationed in Sasebo, Japan. During this time, the ship was going through a repair period. The crew was moved off the ship to berthing shacks on the pier, so only the OOD, officer of the deck, and myself were the only personnel on the ship at that time. The ship had thin planks of wood on the deck to protect it from becoming damaged. One night, I was standing watch from 0100 to 400, and I was sitting in CCS, Central Control Station, and I heard footsteps on the deck. At first, I thought it must be the EDO, engineering duty officer, walking around making sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. So I paid no attention to the sound. 30 minutes go by and I hear the footsteps again. Now I'm thinking, what the hell? So I walk out of CCS in the passageway to see if someone was there. I called out the EDO's name, but nobody answered. So as I turn to walk back into CCS, I hear the footsteps again, this time running straight towards me. So I freak out and run up to the quarterdeck where the OOD was stationed. I explain to him what had just happened, and he tells me, oh, the shit happens all the time. Apparently, some years back, an engineer had hung himself from the ladder, welder went down into the engine space. To this day, I still get chills thinking about that night. It was one of the creepiest experiences of my life.
Be me. Be newly appointed night guard. It's the dead of winter. Cold as shit outside. Dark by 4. Be working in facility, basically a warehouse. Empty by beginning of shift mostly. So on this particular night I did my normal routine. Check in and mull about the building, checking every suite as it is multiple occupancy and a bunch of people own stuff there. It's pretty much quiet all night until the middle of the shift. Be eating lunch. Hear a bunch of squeaky doors and whatnot. Doors keep squeaky as if they are opening. That is weird. I peek from my desk. One by one I see each and every one door slam shit. What the hell? Lights start to flicker a bit, but that's not the weird part. Building has this sound. It's unlike anything I have ever heard. It's like a low rumble, almost like a diesel engine. It started with the whole building, then kind of progresses around as if it was moving. I basically didn't move all shift and got no shit for it because all the supervisors know some weird shit is going on. This isn't even the weirdest post I have had. Here's the weirder one in case someone asks. Be me, post his old dorms, just roam around anon. We just need you until the building is finished. Oh, okay, supervisor, no big deal, I thought. Basically spent a summer roaming around an old dorm. One night I locked up and got some shut-eye. Basically prop myself up in my favorite dorm room and get ready for a long and boring shift. Just a little backstory. I don't know why I was hired for this job. The campus already had security personnel. Why this building was special, I don't know. Maybe the construction company was not allowed to use campus guys for it because of some technicality, I don't know. But here I am. Anyways, in my cozy room. Building is locked. Everything is secure at this point. I'm playing with my phone and then I start to nod off. Before I know it, I'm awoken by a bunch of loud bangs. I looked around the building, but nothing. I got back to the top floor to hear banging from the roof. WTF. I run outside to look up and see nothing. Go back in and lock up. On the top floor now, and I hear a series of loud bangs. Then the entire building gets flooded with some bright light. Next thing I know, it's morning. I bring this up to the supervisor because I'm dumb, kid. Says, yeah, that's why we are there. Campus security won't even look at the building. Okay, the weirdest. Be me. Be security. Day shift now. I was supposed to roam about on some old property that belongs to the municipality. Be roaming. Stumble upon something that looks odd. It's a small town. Totally not supposed to be there. Buildings look at least 100 years old. Not from this era. Keep walking. I turn around further up the road and see nothing. This is the weirdest. I don't know what it was, where it was. All I know is something that was not supposed to be there was there. Meh, that's it, folks. That's all I have.
I worked at a supermarket until recently and heard tales of the white pants man. Basically, it's some bald dude in white pants that people see around the store and on cameras. But you never, ever see him come in or out. Not in any security footage. You just suddenly see him around the store like he was already there. Of course, you can't just follow him to see where he goes, because the manager immediately gives you shit if you're faffing around instead of arranging the shelves like you're supposed to. Never saw him, but people who had access to the cameras said you could spot him on most days, and he seemed to intentionally try to stay away from employees. As for things that did happen to me, I got cursed. There was this gypsy that tried to pull a scheme on me to get some extra change, and I caught on. I called him on his bullshit and threatened to call the manager, so he started chanting some weird shit and ran off. The next morning, he was at the front of the supermarket with an old gypsy woman, and she kept saying something at the building. We were all inside having breakfast before opening up, so all we did was laugh at them. In the next few days, my mother crashed her car and had to pay a buttload for repairs. My father lost his wallet. I got 120 euros missing from my register, and my dog got an ear infection that took weeks to heal, among other smaller shit, just to prove further that gypsies are scum. The guy went back there with his wife and bought a bunch of shit, while trying not to laugh at me, and actually winked at me as he left.
Be me. Working in a retail store during college, B closing shift, coworkers wanted to go party. So I said go on and I finished closing. It's cold as shit out and all I want to do is go home and sleep. They went on. Be about 12 a.m. now and just finishing up with the register. Black van pulls up. Lights are off. Figure it's just the cleaning guys. 2 guys get out and 2 replace them from the back. Maybe friends or helpers. Both guys who did this have blurred faces. The 2 that got out had masks. One walks up to the storefront and tries to open the door. Realizes it's closed. Just stands there looking at me. Wonder where the other dude went. Hear the back door shaking a bit as if someone is trying to open it. The guy in front is still just standing there. Store lights cut off. All that is illuminating the store now is the van's lights. The second guy comes back to the door. They talk for a bit and just stand there looking in. The second guy is a bit more curious and is looking all around. The first guy is just fixated on me. Call police and tell them what's going on. Say they are super busy with the weather and storm and will have a car out in 30 minutes. They tell me to stay put and not to worry as it's just kids hanging around. I don't know about that. Figure I can wait it out for the 30 and they will eventually leave because it's freezing out. 10 minutes pass and nothing really happens until a car pulls up. One guy gets out, kind of shoos the other 2 away and looks into the store. Reaches into pocket and pulls out a rather large knife and taps it onto storefront. Gestures for me to come. Nah, fuck that. Starts rubbing the knife on the window. Nah, dude. One of the other dudes walks to the van now and pulls out a drill. Walks up to the door and starts going at the lock. Run to the side door, which is connected to another business. We were cool with them, so we have a key. I'm in now. It's pitch black and I'm sprinting at this point and I run into someone. The light from the outside is kind of shining in at this point. I see a guy. A mask is on the floor. Dude's face is all kinds of jacked up. He jolts up, but I sprint as fast as I can to the parking lot. I unlock my car. Thank God for auto start and hop in and peel out. They all hopped in the van and car in this point and I see the lights behind me now think they are coming to finish me off or something. They hook a hard turn and never saw them again. Saw cops further up the road and flagged them down. Explained I was the one in the store, etc. That's really it.
Reminds me of a work-related story. Not spooky, but it was definitely not normal. Had a seasonal job working for a photography group. My coworkers and I were always the first group to arrive at the building. Head down the hall towards our office. It's at the end of the hallway, so it's a bit of a walk. Hear creaking, squeaking noises along the way. We joke about how the building is falling apart, not really knowing what to make of it. Noises get louder and more frequent as we get closer to the office. Manager grabs the door handle, causing it to rattle. Noises abruptly stop. Everyone is kind of tense. Some are hanging back while others are peering over the manager's shoulder, not sure what to expect. Manager opens the door slowly. He takes a step inside, everyone huddled around the door frame now, and turns on the lights. Frogs are everywhere. The floor, walls, desks, monitors, chairs, everywhere. Most of the girls, and some of the guys, start screaming and running back down the hall out the building. The rest shouted, "What the hell?" in near unison. Me and a few others start laughing. After a minute or so, we figure we'll have to take care of this ourselves, find a few buckets in the janitor's closet supply room, and spend the next hour or so gathering them up. Ended up dumping numerous buckets of frogs out of the building, one after the other, confusing the hell out of those who were just arriving for work. Nobody knew why it happened, and it apparently never happened before or since.
We spotted the occasional frog throughout the day, and supposedly the night shift had to let a few out as well.
I know I'm a bit tardy to the party, but I've got a creepy moment from my seasonal job earlier this year. Be me at 18, working at the mall. It's 9 a.m. in mid-March. Cute co-workers, but all airhead college girls, so I just wander around at my station. 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, so barely any customers, just old folks taking pics of me for whatever reason. Sorry, no senior discount, .gif. Girls are busy studying for their classes or Snapchatting their friends. As nobody's paying attention and no customers in sight, I start doing a little dancing jig. My friend at the pretzel stand across from us starts drumming a beat on the counter, just in time for a small wave of customers. They watch, applaud, and line up to my stand, after which they move on to his station for snacks. Free pretzel bites later. .jpg. Finish up with the last family, and there's one guy left in line. Late 20s, unkempt neckbeard, puke green jacket, and stained jeans. Automatically thought how lucky I was to see a real robot in the wild. He goes up to the short blonde and asks to take a picture with me. She slowly says, sure, putting on her best smile. He smiles, stumbles past her, and hugs me out of nowhere, sperm-strength death grip. I gently pull him off and lead him to my chair for these specific requests. 15 an hour makes a man have no shame. He sits beside me real close, wraps his arm around me. He reeks of pure BO and waffles. Blonde girl starts snapping away with the company camera. And then the most disturbing thing I experienced on the job and my entire short existence happened. He gropes me. He straight up starts feeling against my chest, hoping to cop a feel. I can tell he's disappointed as he heads to the counter to get his photos. And as he walks off, he turns back and winks at me. I spent 5 minutes spraying myself with Febreze, went straight home after work to shower and eat my pretzel bites in safety. My face when the nightmare of young children experiences true terror from grown men.
I'm confused. Are you a man or a woman?
Guy. Honestly, I was expecting a stigma for applying, but when you're poor with no diploma, there's few things left. The district supervisor who hired me told me offhand that there's often more male applicants than female, but there's quite stringent hiring criteria, for obvious reasons. I have no criminal history, so I was already called in for a fitting to see if I'd fit. They're always looking for anyone under 6 foot to apply. Plus, in a seasonal position where you get paid more than the managers, I had reason to stay. The padding in the suit hides gender-specific forms really well, so few customers suspect I'm in fact a guy.
I work as a ranger in the Black Hills. We sometimes see a large black dog walking around the old ghost towns. Most of them are not really towns, just some foundations that are left. The dog is completely silent, and when you look at it, it just stares back. But if you turn your back on it, it slowly paws its way closer to you. You can see it getting closer out of the corner of your eye, but as soon as you look right back at it, it freezes again. It's huge, easily over 100 pounds and matted. Looks old, like its flesh is not quite tight and strong anymore, you know, like an old dog does, but its muzzle is still jet black. Most of the time we just saw it at night, and your headlamp or truck lights would catch a flash of its eyes. I don't know anyone who has let it get too close, but it always scares the shit out of me. Normally, seeing it out of the corner of your eye will alert you, and you can get in the truck and drive away, or otherwise find an excuse to GTFO. As you drive away, it tends to stand in the center of the 2-track or road and watch you drive, almost like it is noting your truck or something. A couple people have shot at it but missed.
Be me, working at renovating an old run-down 1920s movie theater that has been shut down for years. Always hear it is haunted, but I never saw anything in the few years I worked there. I feel like spirits won't mess with me because I'm taking good care of the place. Start to slack off in my work. Notice a shift in the vibe of the place. Working alone one day, cleaning off the stage, no one else in the building. Hear footsteps coming up from the basement beneath the stage. Immediately head out the emergency exit. Stop at the doorway, because it could be an actual person robbing us or something. Grab a metal bar and head to the basement. It's empty. After that, the place never felt the same, and I was afraid since. Eventually quit.
I worked a service desk for a shitty phone company in the inner city. The youth and adults come in and yell at me all damn day. One lady is upset about something in her contract. It's Friday and most of the people have gone home. Tell her there's nothing I can do. I do not accept that. I don't care. There's physically nobody in this building that can assist you. I want your name, young man, because you did not meet my needs today as a server. Tell her my name. She's writing it down in a notepad. I want your last name too. Yeah, nah, you don't get to know that. I don't care. I want your first and last name and a manager. Lose my shit. It's Friday. I don't even like this job. Tell her to get out of the fucking building or I'll have the cops come and drag her out or I'll do it myself. She marches out, talks, yells at the assistant manager at the door and pointing at me and storms out. The assistant manager comes over. Anon, that customer said you were rude and didn't help her. Is that true? Yeah, she wanted to talk to people who weren't here and then wanted my personal information. Anon, we need to meet every requirement for the customers. They depend on us for it. How would you feel if I'm still going home and... Wait, did you? Well, yes, she wanted your name and somebody to refer to, so I gave her them. That's called building a respectful... You dumb piece of shit. Didn't actually say that, just stared at him and asked if he knew what he just did was dangerous and stupid. Anon, you're being a bit paranoid, don't you think? 2 days later, I'm leaving my building, get approached by two dudes asking if I live here. Tell them yes. Yo must be Anon then, and you were being really fucking rude to my ma boy. They circle me and close in. I pop the trunk to my car and pull out my .22 rifle I shoot with. Both take off running down the street, go to work, yell at the assistant manager in front of everyone saying if he ever gives out my info like that again, I'll put his head through a fucking wall and then quit.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check the Odyssey and Rumble pages for separate archives of previous broadcasts.